Maybe even good morning. I'm starting to sound like an old Saturday Night Live rerun, telling you, for those of you that resonate with that. Welcome. My name is Debbie, and I'm here to talk to you about a few things today. Today there has been a launch on the CryoFrost Compression Garments by Lifepro. Very big deal today. Launch price is $189.99. Similar units I've played with in my past are anywhere from, I think they say $400 to $500, but I've seen them in the thousands in their infancy. And but the regular price is going to be $249.99 on these. Launch price today is $189.99. That's $70 off. That's more than a nice dinner out. And it's about combining cold therapy with compression. So Lifepro's got a lot of good compression garments available to you now, but nothing with the cold, the cryo piece of this. And I'm going to get into some examples. There was a couple of other lives today with Amber and Roseanne, and I'm a different coach. There's never one way to fix a body. Preference comes into it, deficiencies come into it, different techniques come into it. So there's lots of different ways to apply these types of treatments, and I think it's really cool. I actually watched both Amber and Roseanne's earlier. If you haven't checked them out yet, and you're looking at this product, and you're going to get it because it's a good deal today, and they do tend to go out of stock fast when they are on the launch price. So again, $189.99 today, and I'm going to show you my take and some of the applications I've been doing. How I incorporate it into my day-to-day. I've got a different set of customers, and this has been an ideal complement for some of them. I would also like to say, drum roll, they're going to give one away. So by the end of this live, if you want to tell us where you're from and why you think cold compression therapy, the CryoFrost, can help you benefit, make a comment, and at the end, towards the end of the live, I'm going to give you a couple of reminders throughout, but comment where you're coming from today, why you think that this therapy would be ideal for you. It's ideal for everybody, but give us your sob story. What can we fix you with this device? And towards the end of it, my girl behind the scenes, the one that makes me look awesome and clear and all of that, Lauren will announce a winner towards the end of the session here. Paola from Dallas we have. Thank you. Lauren has dropped a link to so you can take a look at this while I'm rambling, because I do tend to ramble. Missy is interested in learning more. And as I said, let us know as you join throughout where you're from, why you think that you could benefit from this technology, and we're going to give one away at the end of the session. Missy from Iowa is to help her with ongoing Achilles tendinitis, which is a pain in the butt, and a lot of us actually probably deal with from time to time without even realizing. Different types of tendinitis occur in the body, but an ankle is a common one. I bet you spent some time in heels back in your day, Missy, or perhaps you do now. We've got Kim from Houston. My son has had knee surgery, having surgery Tuesday. This will be very helpful. Absolutely. Amber and Roseanne both talked about, and you'll notice if you're looking at the product online, I encourage you to do that. There's a number of benefits, and it's very likely that Debbie, the Vibe trainer, will forget a few of them because there's too many to be excited about. But I got into this whole feel-good wellness industry because I was getting ready for knee surgery. And many of these tools were available, but only at my therapist's office, or if I had lots of money in the bank or my benefits account. So the cool thing about some of these products that Lifepro is bringing to you guys is not only are they able to be used in a home, they're not rocket science, they're not complicated medical devices, but they're affordable. A big word I talk about with a lot of my customers is accessibility. Accessibility means a couple of things. Maybe that means you have access to a place that offers it as a service, and you can certainly go there. But many of my clients dealing with severe medical concerns just don't have the mobility. They don't have the benefit coverage. There's a lot of reasons that going for treatments that may even be locally available just aren't feasible. So if you could get something for the cost of, the average treatment or two, and then you own it for life and always use it with the amazing warranties that Lifepro brings to the table, it's kind of a win-win and a win-win. So what I'd like to do now is kind of just go over this in two pieces. What I'm going to do today, and my take on this, is I'm going to combine the basics of cryotherapy with a vibration plate I love combining anything with a vibration machine, but of course, you know, I put things through my paces the way that I do, and I have found not only some additional benefits to combining these technologies, but I have found some science, which I will reveal to you shortly. If you're just joining us now, we're giving away a CryoFrost cold compression system today at the end of this live. Tell us where you're from, why you would benefit from using it, and we're going to pick a name out of the comments at the end of the live today. So I'm going to ramble a little bit now. I want to show you what this looks like out of the box. So when you get this thing out of the box, you've heard me, if you've heard me do lives before, one of my favorite words is substantial. This is a substantial carrying case. It's not some little neoprene piece of something with a shoestring in it. Amber pointed out earlier, there's holes in the bag in case you're wondering. That's for ventilation. You're dealing with something that changes temperature. Perhaps you were really sweaty when you were using it. Perhaps you were using it as recovery and you just haven't had a chance to give it a clean. Maybe you're throwing your gym shoes in here. There's a little bit of extra room. So I'm going to open up the bag like you get it out of the box. So you get it out of the box, and inside here, there's little pockets. I don't know if you can see that. Okay. In there is your carrying strap. So if you did want to strap it over your shoulder, look a little bit cooler that way. And there's extra pockets in here for, maybe your phone, maybe your granola bar. And it does come with an optional rechargeable battery. So if you wanted to purchase a battery separately so that you could use it on a mobile level, there's room in here to store those. So the first thing coming out of the box is the power piece. So you can see CryoFrost Compression System. Okay. If you're just joining us and you'd like to win one of these, please tell us where you're from and why you think you would benefit from using this. Okay. So there's a little screwdriver. If you do get the battery, there's tiny little itty bitty screws that people with old eyes love to take out of the back of the unit if you did decide to get the optional battery. The manual, of course, Lifepro is always amazing. I love that these are in bags. I have children, I have animals, and I drink a lot of coffee. So sometimes, accidents happen. So this is the controller unit. And if you're using any of Lifepro's products right now, it's very smart in how they're packaging any of their new products. You're familiar with the program. There's different suites. So the terminology within the control is going to be similar to you based on other products you might have. So in the box, it comes with power. Okay. So I didn't get it wrapped up as nicely as it came brand new, but you can store the cold packs for this system ahead of time in the freezer for a couple of hours. Kind of gets to be a sensitivity thing. If you're using this for the first time and you've never used cold therapy and you've never used compression, you can certainly try it without freezing the bags just to get a feel for it. The bags themselves are filled with gel, which I'll get into here next. So let's pull one of those out and I'll get back over there and plug things in. I do not have the optional battery, but I'm going to get over there. I just want to be close to show you some of these. So there's two garments within the bag. There's one cuff that's more for the ankle or the elbow or a joint, if you will. And there's a larger tubular shaped sleeve as well that's going to be better for around the thighs, the calves. And some of it boils down to size and where you're trying to treat. Be creative with where you place these. So the first sleeve, it kind of looks like a little boat if you look at the shape of it. Within it, attached, first of all, these are your air hoses. So the compression, the movement, the expansion and contraction as you're wearing these is simply air moving through a series of chambers. So each of these is going to have their own independent air hose. And there's two pieces to each of these. Now, this is opened up. So you can see inside here, this is a separate gel pack. And Amber showed as well, did Roseanne, how to take those apart. I don't keep mine in the freezer. I have a cold room where I keep all my pickles and I have an extra freezer, and I'm in Canada and it's January. So it's very cold this time of year. I keep the two sleeves. I keep the electronics out, but I keep the two sleeves in my cold room. And for me, my preference, I find that's the right amount of cold for using this. So you're going to have to play with the temperature a little bit, just like you would with a heat bag on the heat side. You're going to have different sensitivities, and your sensitivities are going to be different depending on what body part you're treating as well. Just keep looking at questions here. Interesting. Okay, so I will make sure I'm not missing anyone. If you're just joining us, let me know where you are joining me from today. So I'm going to take this one over now. I'm going to take the power pack over. I'm going to plug that into my wall, like so. I just wanted to show you how idiot-proof the setup actually was. Okay. The other sleeve we're going to be playing with today is the tubular sleeve. So that's what this one looks like. This is, like I said, it's got adjustable, very robust Velcro. Some of you that have little arthritic hands or such, you might have issue until they wear in a little bit. It's brand new Velcro and is designed to last for some time. If you have a lot of pets, pet hair, try and minimize or lint brush this thing, every once in a while, but you will find over time, you're probably going to find where your fit is, and you may or may not even be opening and closing them over time. For me, this is kind of fit me already. So if you're the only one using your compressions, you probably won't find with this one you're necessarily taking it on and off unless you're treating different areas. So I'm going to start with this one. I'm going to bring the bag back over here, and this one as well. I tried to be fancy and set up a table today, so I wasn't dropping things. Okay, you'll notice that I'm sitting on a bar height stool for today's demonstration, and my feet are on the Relaxa Vibe model. The reason I'm on a bar height stool, if you haven't seen one of my Vibe sessions in the past, I like you seated at a good 90-degree angle. So what I'm showing you today can be done in your regular chair on your sofa, or if you'd like to incorporate it with your vibration plate, I'm showing you how to do it at the same time. So whether you're sitting on the floor or want to stimulate and get a little bit more benefit by incorporating your vibration plate, I'm going to show you how to do that today. But the first thing we got to do is talk about hooking this up. The previous sessions today did an awesome job of going over how the programs work. There are 5 different programs associated with this. The intensity level is going to change. And the different intensities it's very similar to your measuring your blood pressure. It's in millimeters of mercury. And the settings for the 5 different intensities are 20, 40, 60, 80, and 100 units of compression. So those are the numbers that are going to display. Amber did a close-up of that on her live today. And that's what I was kind of talking about. Depending on what you're treating, what your sensitivities are, you're going to have to play with those settings and see what your comfort zone is for what you're treating. If you're really inflamed and puffy, I'm going to do this right now. Maybe you're dealing with some sciatic. So we're going to tuck this up under the back of the thigh, which is what I was treating last night. That's why it fits so perfectly. Now, how I'm going to incorporate the vibration machine, I'm going to use it in the oscillating setting. What setting you use it in is not as important as why. Why are we incorporating vibration with this? So vibration increases circulation, lymph, and so does the compression. So what I was playing with last couple of days is as I move my circulation around, you can almost feel it taking a faster or a more immediate effect. So it's a way to reduce the amount of time that you might have to spend doing the compression. I always talk about in vibration machine sessions, they're about reducing time and effort. Well, in this instance, it's about recovery time. So the time you spend doing recovery, maybe you're in a bit of a rush and you're not doing your treatment regularly because it takes too long. Consistency is the key with any of these recovery tools. So if you're not doing it regularly because it takes too much darn time, add your vibration machine and you probably could reduce your session time to a half. I would say maybe 3/4 of the time that you've been using it. Not necessarily doing a workout, but just to promote the additional lymph, circulation, detoxification, those types of things. So I'm going to turn mine on. I think I'm turning mine on. What have I done wrong? Oh, yeah. You have to press and hold the power button. And I'm just going to run mine on P1. So P1 is a measurement of 20. To give you a comparison, if you've never dealt with compression before, if you've never had your blood pressure taken at the doctor's office, sometimes it's alarming, and maybe there's something going on. Maybe you have varicose veins or you have previous surgery. I want to give you sort of a comparison. So a comparison would maybe be to compression socks. So compression socks, the stuff that you buy over the counter, maybe you're wearing them because you're diabetic or, you're an athlete and you just want a little bit more blood return from the lower extremities. Your over-the-counter compression socks are going to be the 15 to 20 millimeters of mercury. What is millimeters of mercury? It's measuring, if you can visualize in the doctor's office, that needle, each unit of a millimeter is a measurement. So that's the measurement. There are newer measurements, but that's been around so long. It's very common that you'll see that in comparison with compression garments. Medical class compression garments are going to be 20 to 30. So your level 1, your 20 millimeters of mercury are going to be very similar to like the high end of an over-counter or a low-grade class 1 medical device. The settings on this compression-wise, if you went all the way up to setting 5, is 100 units. So what does 100 units compare to? The highest class that I'm aware of, I'm sure there's some out there that exceed this, but the average compression sock, getting up into the higher grade, the class 3s, they're going to top out at about 50. So these are a little bit more intense, but you're not wearing them all day. But that just kind of gives you a sense, if you're wearing compression garments right now or doing those type of treatments, it's probably going to feel very similar, but it's going to be in that expanding and contracting fashion versus the constant pressure you'd feel in a compression sock. Just a little point of interest. So I'm going to get my machine going in oscillating, which is your side-to-side movement. You can use pulsation, you can use lateral. This is just about what feels good, and we're just using the vibration plate as a stimulus to increase and further move that blood flow. I'm going to have, because I'm kind of strapped in here, I'll have to come back and look at questions a little bit closer. I prefer and recommend a mid to higher speed with a closer foot placement. We're not doing squats, we're not doing a workout, and the mid and higher speed ranges on your platforms are going to be smoother, less choppy. We don't want the compression slapping all over the place. We just want to get some blood flow and some additional lymph going, okay? It's very quiet. For those of you that, I don't know, maybe you're looking at this, putting this into your home practice, or maybe you're a massage therapist or a therapist that want to start incorporating some of these tools. With the compression and the machine going right now, I doubt that you even hear them on camera, and we're about 6 feet away from each other. So they're very quiet. I wouldn't say whisper quiet, but you will hear the sound of the air exchange as it goes through the controller. I feel a very, very slight vibration in my hand. I wanted to show you another variation, and I think I'm going to keep this one on for now. I don't know if you saw the launch a couple weeks ago with the Infinity box set, but I'm all about playing with other tools, and because Lifepro has so many, I have put together a few of the accessories that come with the Infinity box set. This is the handles that goes with the resistance band, and this is a padded ankle cuff. I'm going to incorporate, because many of us dealing with hamstring issues or sciatic issues, if you can incorporate while you're seated here, doing your compression, getting your blood flow going better, instead of just sitting here, let's do a couple of stretches. So I'm going to lift one leg at a time, and I'm just going to pull my toes towards me. I think Amber calls it toes to nose. You want to try and lift that to the ceiling, but maybe that's hard for you, and you want to give it a bit more of a stretch. I've rigged up this little cuff unit here. Maybe you have resistance bands or other things at home, but this I found to be perfect. So help yourself. Don't put it right in the arch of your foot. Try and bring it up to the ball of the foot and just hold. And you should feel a nice stretch. Don't bounce. Just hold a nice stretch and release. Okay? Just to help stretch a little bit further. Sometimes if you're dealing with poor hips, a low back, it's not comfortable to lift that foot on its own. You're not strong enough. So this is another way that I want you to keep good posture, and you're going to feel that stretch on the back of the calf and the hamstring. Now, a specific sciatic stretch that I've done in the past as well is you want to lift and extend it with the lower leg, but at the same time, we're going to lift and look up to the ceiling. It's a really good way to get into the sciatic. If you are dealing with knee issues, hold that for about 3 to 5 seconds. Of course, you have to do both legs, but I'm not going to switch them around right this second on camera. Another thing that you could do while you're seated, maybe I want to do a little bit of upper body lymph movement while I'm doing this. I've shown this in the past. You can put your hands on your elbows, put your elbows on your knees, just instead of just sitting there, okay? So I'm loving this. Temperature-wise, I would say that yes, absolutely. I feel it's expediting the blood flow. One of the great things that both the other coaches have pointed out is how it expedites that circulation, really expedites recovery. By, again, adding the vibration machine to these new CryoFrosts, you're just going to expedite the benefits a little bit further. If you're just joining us, we are giving one of these units away today. I'm going to do another application here with the ankle shortly. Tell us where you're from. Tell us why you think you'd benefit from using this, and make a comment on this feed, and we're going to give one here away at the end. I'm just going to kill the power for now because I'm kind of strapped in here. Okay, I'm going to pause my machine. I like doing this with leggings or something on. These slide on nice and easy, on and off. Okay, hang on, my notes are falling down here behind camera. How unprofessional. I don't have this all memorized. No, I do not. I'm just going to check in here and see if my girl Lauren needs some help with some questions. We use everywhere I can on my body. Age effects everywhere. Saw Amber's earlier today. Curious if you would start with a Leva Red Light therapy belt, then vibration machine, then cryo. You know what? It really depends. If you're into some hot cold therapy, that might be an approach to take. I think any of these therapies, you're not going to find the perfect protocol that's going to fit every application, but you do have tendencies and you have your own preferences. So trust that sixth sense. We don't listen to our gut enough sometimes. And if it feels good and your body's, receiving it well, then yes, I would experiment in that realm. If it were me, the hot cold thing really depends on what you're treating and what your preferences are. I mentioned a little bit early, and I'm just going to tag my girl Lauren up here. Oh, hang on, I've done something. I didn't actually turn it off. I was wondering what all the noise was. I'm going to tag my girl Lauren. I want to reference a bit of research I was coming across the other evening before I get into the second cuff. We all talk about recovery and expediting recovery, whether you're just, an athlete that's sore after a workout or an event, or you're dealing with a surgery recovery situation. Thank you for posting that. A very recent study, 2020, in fact, but a good study. There's science, and then, a good study to me is something where I can dig into the meat and the bones and see what those protocols were. And I have kind of a bigger scope than I probably should on these machines. And sometimes it's, it's not always a specific machine. It just validates vibration in general, in my opinion, because we know, doesn't matter what type of plate you're using, there are certain definitive benefits associated with any kind of movement. And those big ones are going to be things like balance, circulation, lymphatic movement, flexibility. The study I came across last night was very, very fascinating. I'm going to read it word for word here. It said, the results from the study represent the first evidence that a single session of either vibration or cryotherapy can basically boost up flexibility without losing trunk postural ability. If you've ever seen a vibration machine at a trade show or ever had one demonstrated, one of the biggest things we used to do back in the days is have you do a toe touch. So you go to touch your toes and, kind of look something like this. So you get on the machine and you can only go so far. And then, you do a minute or two on the machine and, oh my goodness, it's a miracle. I can go. So that's been proven time and time again with vibration machines. And it's one of the reasons in my cerebral palsy group that I recommend a lot of my families are using the machine for a minute or two as a pre-treatment, just to, make other things better, make the kids more stable as they're doing other exercises, or maybe they're going out of the home to go to some therapy. So a lot of times a minute or two on the plate post other treatments or other exercises makes those treatments and exercises more effective and easier to the user. What I found in this study last night was so does cryotherapy. So it's also an awesome way, and what it was specifically referring to was some young female athletes. So as a warm-up, when I was talking about earlier about preferences, the word warm-up isn't really about, it could be a cold up now. So, it is about a preference. They found that they compared a vibration machine, a vertical one, you're going to get much more out of oscillation, in my opinion. A vertical machine to cryotherapy, and the gains were very, very similar. So, of course, Crazy Debbie thought, well, what if we combine them? Won't the results be even better? To a degree, that is true. Exercise, you run that risk of overdoing things. I don't want you combining, doing 10 workouts, but when you're dealing with therapy and accelerating recovery or getting prepared for sports or therapy, we know vibration machines improve many things on the body and better prepare it for those post treatments. Same with cryotherapy. So if you prefer the cold, you know, if you're the type of person that's going to ice your knees versus do heat therapy after a run, you might enjoy using this as a warm-up. And I know Roseanne earlier was talking about her bad ankle. You know, I'd be curious to see if this makes your Pilates more fluid, if you find yourself more stable, if there's improvements using it as a warm-up. So I want to go over an example with the other one. Unhook this. Just going to tuck this one away in the bag. There. Okay. So the ankle boot. Now again, I just had this in my cold room overnight. This is the ankle boot. Amber already showed how to do it on the knee and the elbow. I'm going to do this on my knee because that's where I like to ache and complain about. And I'm simply, and if you get creative and play around with these, you'll figure out how it works best for you. I'm like, sort of like Amber did, I want to leave that kneecap just a little bit exposed. And depending on the angle of your knee, okay, so there's a discussion in the earlier lives about, you know, how this really helps with joint mobility, joint mobilization. If you have swelling in the joints, I'm a big philosopher of, you know, you are only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. So some of the things that we're showing you on these lives are just the way that this is just the way that I've experimented with it. You know, if just because there isn't a protocol out there, or you know, you haven't seen anyone do it on their elbow, doesn't mean that you can't try that. So with a lot of these, they're so safe. There's really nothing to fear. The only precautions that I would have is, I would say if you are dealing with open incisions, if you got some staples or some bandages, you got to be really careful with placing these on open wounds on the compression piece. But you could take advantage from the cold, reduce that inflammation. A lot of my clients deal with neuropathy. They deal with chronic swelling and inflammation. And I think the big win that Lifepro has brought to you guys here today, you know what? I'm enjoying the cold so much I forgot about the compression. One of the big wins with this, many of my clients in my lymphedema and my lipedema, Durkheim's disease group, just can't tolerate the heat. It's just not their friend. And but they do love the compression. And I think this is going to be an awesome way to combine the benefits of both. And tolerance in that community varies so much from, you have good days, you have bad days. If you're dealing with a chronic medical issue, you know what I'm talking about. And that's where, you know, if you're having a bad day, you know, maybe you work with a lower setting, or maybe you're loosening off the Velcro a little bit. If you're having a good day and the swelling's down and, you know, the tolerance is there, that's the beauty of having a few different, multiple programs. You can really adjust depending on how you're feeling, certainly from a medical and a feel-good perspective. If you're an athlete and you're trying to ramp things up, you know, those might be days to try a few different compressions or bring things up a little bit. But I would caution, if you're using this for the first time, just like a vibration machine or anything else new, you don't necessarily need to do the whole time. You know, if you're sensitive or you are dealing with some inflammation or some swelling, you know, maybe try it for half the time and maybe do a little bit more later on, just to see how you personally adjust to it. Sometimes when we're dealing with lymph, if we've had a compromised lymph system and we've got blockages, you know, you might move a lot of lymph out of the knee or the ankle, but it might be moving somewhere else. So all the more reason, you know, combine it with other tools that you have. Perhaps you're using a bike or a treadmill or a vibration plate. You can use this beautifully now as a warm-up as well as recovery. And the study I was just referring to that my girl Lauren has dropped in the comments, it specifically referenced, you know, now coaches can use this as a warm-up even. So if you are dealing with tendinitis or you've got an injury that gives you grief when you're playing sports, you know, maybe cold is the way to go versus warm. I really challenge a lot of you out there, if you're using heat therapy as a warm-up now, to see what the benefits of cold might present to your game, okay? I'm going to turn this off again. I'm going to turn this off again. I need to find our remote controls today. I've misplaced them in my pile of things. Okay. So I just want to step back here and see how we're doing for time and questions. If you haven't heard already, the amazing launch price on this compression outfit today, the CryoFrost, which comes as a cool bag. It comes with 2 different sleeves, one for your thigh, one for your ankle. You can certainly, I wanted to show you, you can use them with or without the packs inside. Oh, God, I'm just making a mess on camera today, aren't I? Watch those tubes. That is the #1 reason I'm going to get the battery. Okay. Inside, this completely removes. If you wanted to just have compression, you could use this solely on its own. You could use your own heat pack under it, or Amber also suggested, I wouldn't put these gel packs in the microwave. They're not the dual purpose. These are strictly for cold use, but you could put them on a warm surface if you wanted to bring them more to a body temperature or warmer. I just wouldn't recommend warming these up as you would a heat bag by any means. Or use your own. Like I say, the ankle cuff can be used as well, like I say, on the elbows. You can situate it on your shoulder if you want to experiment with that. Get creative. You are, again, only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. And today it's $189.99, launch price, $70 off what's going to be the regular $249. And we're giving one away. So tell us where you're from, why you think you would benefit from these CryoFrosts. And towards the end of the live here, we're going to pick one of you so you can experiment with it on your own at home. I have aches and pains throughout my body. This sounds like it would be a good alternative for lots of areas. The sciatic area is a special interest to me. I hope you saw my little bit if you didn't rewind later, but you know, these are things that you simply put on your body and you do the things you're supposed to be doing already. If you've got an outline from your PT or your doctor of things you're supposed to be doing for your bad knee or your bad back or your vertigo or anything that you're supposed to be doing as far as physical exercises, a lot of them can be done with these compressions in place. So combine what you're supposed to be doing. If you're supposed to be stretching your hamstrings 2 times a day, do them with the compressions. You never know how much you might expedite the benefits. If you've hit a plateau as an athlete or in your recovery and you find you're stagnant, and a lot of times what we're doing is boring, you know, and we're not doing it just because, oh, I'm gonna do it, but consistency is the key. So incorporate some of these tools to increase the effectiveness of those exercises and stretches you're supposed to be doing. Incorporate other tools, your vibration plates, your massage guns. One I wanted to show, possibly, you know, there's all, or I didn't bring my little one down, but there's vibrating rollers. If you don't have a vibration plate, many of you do have the rollers. I've got the bigger one in the back there. You know, put it under the Achilles tendon, put it in the arch of your foot while you're doing the compression, just to expedite the benefits of both. Shoulder, good idea. Work at my desk. The carry bag makes it easier. This one is coming. I know I'm not saying your name right. Is it Paolo? Anywhere that really, you know, where it hurts. You know, I might say this is how you treat your shoulder, but you might need to play with it and its position a little bit till you get the area where you know where your sensitivity is and where it needs attention. Is cryotherapy also good for weight loss? You know, I'm going to say that's a gray area. You know, there's lots of things that are good for weight loss, but you know, I would think it would be more of a warm up or a recovery to other things. I think there is some research out there. There's certainly cold laser. There's all kinds of different things, but I wouldn't say that that's the main benefit of this. But in complement with your other activities, you know, maybe you're dealing with inflammation and traditional cardio activities are hard for you. Something like this might make it easier for you to do the activities that you want to be doing or are supposed to be doing. Or if you're doing them anyways and you're paying the price, use them after. You don't need to be in pain. This whole no pain, no train, no pain thing is absolutely a nonsense thing of the past. What else have we got here? These results. Oh, that's my study. I hope you guys find that interesting. What else? My tendinitis in my foot. Tendinitis in the foot can be a tricky one, and again, you know, it depends on what you've been recommended with. But if it's inflammation, generally as a rule, you're going to be recommended to be doing some type of cold therapy. It's usually, heat is usually not your friend when you're dealing with inflammation, and sometimes it's, you know, it's a spasticity thing. Those tendons and those muscles are so darn tight. You know, it makes it easier to stretch and do some of these things to deal with those issues. Whereas without the compression and the cold, sometimes the pain levels are just not tolerable. So I'd be curious to get some feedback on that one. Hello from Bonita Springs. Great explanation of the grades of compressions. Yeah, I hope that made sense. I know a lot of my clients are using compression socks, so that's just the way with all of Lifepro's compression tools. I kind of like to compare it just to give you, because you have that physical experience. I'm curious if you could use with the red light of view. Again, on that one, I would use on my calves and biceps. You could probably use either sleeve. It really, you know, you're going to find one, and it depends on your body type, your size, how long your calves are. Experiment with that. Houston, Achilles tendon. A lot of you guys got Achilles issues here. Maybe I'll show you a quick trick for the Achilles. If any of you have around the house, we don't this time of year, but this is just a pool noodle. You know, the things that your kids splash around the pool with. I love massaging and stretching my Achilles and my calves on the machine. Nothing saying you couldn't do this at home, but your Achilles, the back of your knee, the arch of your foot, there's certain things that just don't come in contact. So you could use something like, I've taken a length and cut it lengthways, so it lays flat on the platform. It just kind of wedges into that area. If it's the arch of your foot, if it's the ankle, if it's the back of the knee, just to wedge it in there and get a little bit more circulation and loosen up those areas. Sometimes this is more comfortable than a massage gun or your physical hands. It's a little bit kinder, and you can kind of control it with, you know, how much you're letting your foot rest into it. What else am I doing here? Who else is here today? From Indiana, I said that. South Alabama. Hello, Adriana. Surgery. Cool. All right. So again, I just want to recap 5 intensity settings. This is launching today on Lifepro's main page. It is also available through them on Amazon. You can incorporate it with a lot of the amazing tools that you already have. How cold should it be? There's not going to be an exact number. What setting is best for what? I really encourage you to play with these self-care tools, and you know, it's going to be very much driven by your own preference, your own level of comfort, and what you're treating specifically, and what's your sensitivity in those areas. It's going to expedite recovery. We've more than covered that in the few lives we've had today. But isn't it exciting to know we could also potentially use this as a warm-up tool? As a woman that's getting into menopause and these types of things, I'm thinking, you know, maybe I'll use cold therapy as my warm-up now. I do have a bad knee, and I do find I use a combination of cold and hot. I haven't experimented with them kind of immediately right after, but I will be incorporating some of that just to see and give you some guidance. But again, what works best for me and what works best for you. If it was that easy, Lifepro wouldn't need to be doing these lives and have all these information sessions. So you've got to experiment with what feels good for you and your condition and how you're trying to incorporate it into the areas that you're treating. You might find you're using it before you go to the massage therapist. Maybe you're using it after you come from the massage therapist. I think it's a real win that we have not just the compression. Compression garments are very expensive. So you've got the 2 different sleeves that come with this. I just want to do a recap in case anyone's joining us here later. This is your ankle. So it's shaped very much like a boot. Very robust Velcro, as I said. Okay, so that's the shape of that. It's going to be awesome on the ankle, the elbow. You can maneuver it on the shoulder. Get creative. As I said, you're only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. These are the gel packs. As I said, I've been keeping mine in my cold room. It's more than cold in that area in Canada this time of year. You may want to put yours into the refrigerator. Really depends on your tolerance. So experiment with, you know, how cold, how long in the freezer, those types of things. The longer sleeve, the thigh. Again, just to show you, it's a little bit bigger. Okay. And each of these have their own independent air hoses. So you don't have to hook them both up to run them. You can use one or the other or both. This also opens up. and it's got its own trapezoid shaped. My daughter said it's looked like a trapezoid, Mom. And there's different chambers within the gel packs. So Amber had mentioned, and I just want to back her up. If you do happen to puncture one of these, you're not the whole thing's not going to fall out. Please don't puncture one of these. Don't put like jackknives and toothpicks in your bag with them. But if in the off chance something happens, there's only one area that's being affected in that gel pack. Okay. And as I said, I'm keeping these in my cold room, and I find for me it's just, I'd say, a little above freezing in the cold room there, and it's just awesome temperature wise. And they're still cold. I took these out about 10 minutes before the session. We are 40 minutes in, so that the coolness within the gel retains for quite some, probably for a couple of users, you'd have enough coolness in there. It comes with an optional battery pack. I want to show you this again. I see all the goodies. So again, this is your controller. 5 preset programs. It has in the bag itself, there's different compartments within here. As I pointed out earlier, there is a longer carrying strap. If you wanted to obtain an extra rechargeable battery, there's lots of different compartments in here for those, or your phone or your wallet. It's kind of a nice gym bag, to be honest with you. And also there are vent holes at the bottom. If you do decide to turn it into your gym bag and your sneakers or other things end up in there. Again, it's just like getting, if you got old crappy single pane windows like I do at my house, you get that condensation. So you're putting something cold into a bag, and it's you just want to make sure that there's some ventilation. So they think of everything at Lifepro, right? Okay, must be a couple of athletes or something running the country, or running the company. That is the end of my yap about today. For those of you that didn't see me during the live demo, I was incorporating some of these with the CryoFrost today, just to ramp up the benefits and show you just some other ideas of what you can do with the tools that you already have. I think you're going to love these. I'm very impressed with not only the size, but just double stitching. There's care and detail into the quality of these, and you are going to spend a lot more elsewhere. I can guarantee you that. Today they're launching for $189.99. Regularly, they will be priced at $249, which is still like half of what you'd pay anywhere else. So you're looking at 70 bucks off. Today is the launch on Lifepro's site, but they are also available on Amazon. You got 5 different intensities. For those that didn't hear my spiel earlier, you've got 5 different settings, and the setting is very similar if you've ever had your blood pressure taken. It's measured in millimeters of mercury. So if you visualize that thing when they're taking your blood pressure, the silver liquid is mercury, and it goes up a millimeter at a time. That's the measurement, the amount of pressure, gravity comes into it. There's a whole science side to it. But you know, the ranges on this are from 20 as high as 100 of those compression measures. We are going to give you a comparison. I was talking earlier, a low over-the-counter compression sock is going to be about 15 to 20 of those measurements. The high-end class 2, class 3 medical grade compressions are going to be more like the 50 range. So about twice as powerful. This is a bit of a different application, and you're not going to be wearing them all day at the office. But you know, if you enjoy the benefits of simple compression socks now, you're going to be very comfortable and have good tolerance probably for the mid to higher settings. If you haven't used compression before, start conservatively, not only in your settings, but you do not have to do the full time. I tend to be a bit of a nag about that. Just because your machine or your device is set to go for 15 minutes or a half hour doesn't mean that's necessarily the appropriate for you. If you're dealing with a medical condition or you're recovering from surgery, you probably shouldn't be doing everything full bore. So, I would recommend, if you're using this to recover from something medically, break it into a couple of sessions throughout the course of the day, especially for that blood flow, especially if you're dealing with swelling and inflammation. Instead of just doing one big session, you might find that a little bit more comfortable. You could use it before bed if you've got restless leg, tight hamstrings. If you do deal with swelling in the lower extremities just because you do a lot of sitting, when you use this is also, something to think about. When are you swelling? There's no point in doing a compression session first thing in the morning if you're swollen at the end of the day. So let your body tell you when is the time and the treatment, and listen to it. If you've overdone it on compression, you're probably going to feel a little bit sleepy. I find if I do it too long, I start to get lazy and want to go to sleep. One of the big benefits I do like about the cold, I find I'm a little more alert, a little bit more perky, and I can almost see the appeal of using it as that warm up, cold up. I don't know what we'd call it other than a warm up, but warm up with cold stuff is what we'll limit that to today. Have I missed any questions? If I have, please drop them in the comments, and I will make sure that I get to those. I'm going to give you one last chance. We are giving away a set of these today. I want you to tell me where you are from and what you think you would benefit from having a pair of these. What ails you and what would you use to treat? I'd be curious to see. Again, I'm limited to the own four walls of my own brain, but I'm always curious to see what other people are doing. Variety is the spice of life, and I find by mixing things up, it's a really good way, especially it's new year, new you. We've got all that pressure. It's New Year's, but this is a really easy way to maybe get things consistent. You know, if it hurts and it doesn't feel good, you're not going to stick with it. So use these self-care tools to help with those goals that you have, whether it's fitness, whether it's feel good, whether it's weight loss, whether it's getting stronger. Sometimes combining these are really going to ramp up the effects. So let me know how you would use them. I have I love keto packs, but the fact that this is multi-keto and compression makes it a smart buy. I would agree. You know, we've all got our philosophies in our lifestyles, and how you'd incorporate these are going to vary, and that's why I love hearing different ideas. Again, I deal with a lot of folks that deal with heavy inflammation and swelling, and there's lots of compression users out there. But I'm really excited to say that the cold application, the cold therapy combination of this, it just makes sense. So for those of you that do have heat sensitivities, I think you're going to find this a huge win. And like I say, even at the regular price of $249, it's completely accessible and affordable for most people. Today, the deal is $189.99 though. They do sell out fast. So if this is something you've been looking at or considering, don't wait till next week. It's not going to be available. They tend to sell out fast on the launch, so you may have to wait for a while. And why would you wait to spend 70 bucks more? So if you're going to do it today. Any other questions? Oh, that's so smart, using a pool noodle. I go through so many pool noodles, girl. Let me tell you, Adriana. I probably average 50 to 100 a year just because I'm always giving them away to little old folks, or I'm taking them with me to a client's house and I forget them there. They're hypoallergenic. As long as my dog doesn't get his hands on them, they tend to last around the studio. But yeah, there's all kinds of things that you have around the house or other tools that you've purchased through Lifepro, pardon me, that can help you expedite and just get better benefits overall. Any other questions? I think that's it for today. I'm not sure if we are ready to, we're 47 minutes in. Cryo, not keto. I knew what you meant. I knew what you meant. Knee replacement support, absolutely. I was supposed to get a knee replacement, but I never did. 15 years later, I'm still here yapping. But I swell, and I can tell you if it's going to rain or snow. So yeah, I tend to, if on my painful days, I find cold has a better effect for me. I love heat. I prefer the feel of heat, but it's not as effective for my swelling and my aches and my pains as cold is. I sit at desk all day, sounds like it might help. Yeah, the knee one and the thigh one, you can hook them both up while you're sitting at the desk, or, you know, one on each side and switch them over. The ankle. There's a lot you can do seated or laying down. Roseanne and Amber showed you some examples earlier as well. Again, you're only limited by your imagination and your range of motion. And if your range of motion sucks, you might find this is a better treatment to do while you're laying in your bed, or you can get comfortable on the couch and take a load off for a little while. The link is in the comments if you guys want to take a closer look at this product itself. And well, I'm going to ask my my talented gal Lauren if we are ready to make. You're welcome for the. I hope it's good information. Sometimes it's a lot of information because I do talk a lot. Who knew that would serve me well later in life? I've always been a big talker. But I'm very excited about this product. And again, so many of my clients, I just can't say enough about the foresight that Lifepro brings. And the feedback you guys give them, that's where this all comes from. You know, so we want you telling us what you like, what you don't like, and what you'd like to see more of. Today it was about where you're from and how you could benefit from winning one of these amazing CryoFrost cold therapy compression units. And I think that's going to be it for the day. Lauren, are we announcing this live here, or is it just going to be in the comments later? I'm not certain. Are we wrapping? Oh, she's texted it to me. Do you want to know? Do you want to know who won? Okay, I don't know if you are still with us or not, but I would ask Kim Johnson to direct message Lifepro with your shipping address and your email so we can get this bad boy out to you. So again, Kim Johnson, who obviously commented somewhere in the feed today. Kim, thank you for listening to my ramblings. And yes, if you would please direct message us through this feed, we will arrange to get that information, or we need to get some information, and we will get this sent out to you. So congratulations. I'm excited to hear your feedback. Maybe do a little video for us once you get this thing. And for everybody else who joined us here today, if you are looking at this, today is the day, $189.99. You cannot go wrong. If you do get yourself a CryoFrost, I would love to hear what you do on it, or with it, pardon me, on it. I'm still got the vibration in my head. You know, what you incorporate it with, what you're using it for. I'd love some feedback and just some interesting ways that you might find work best for you and what ails you. Thank you so much. I love doing these lives with you guys. I'm getting a little less nervous each time. Can't guarantee the rambling will stop. That's just me. Any questions for me personally, just feel free to tag me in the feed. If you have any Lifepro questions, there's a number of ways you can get a hold of us. And like I say, if you're considering this, act fast. They don't tend to last too long at the launch price, and I would hate to see you wait. Thank you so much. Have a fantastic weekend, whatever it holds for you. And we're looking forward to some nicer weather. So I'm going to get outside with the kids and might have to use some of my CryoFrost for some recovery after I do some snow shoveling. Have a great weekend, everybody. Don't work too hard. I look forward to seeing you Monday, I believe. In the afternoon, I'm going to be doing a vibration machine workout for what we are, I think, starting to call Motivational Mondays. So if you're looking for vibration machine tips, how-tos, how I can help you fix your woes, join us on Monday afternoon. We'll get the event up here. Look on the Lifepro page and the VIP page for the details, and I'll see you guys all on Monday.